Good morning. I'm just going to echo Jason. Our band is just doing a tremendous job. And actually, Reckless Love is my absolute favorite. So it just seemed like just a really special treat from God, just to have that, be able to sing that song on the day I'm standing up here. And they did a wonderful job with it. Anyway, I am Kelly Carpenter, for those of you who do not know me. I'm a leader in the church's Celebrate Recovery program. And like Pastor Jesse said, this program addresses all of life's issues. Statistically, I think it's about 1 in 3 people go for addictions. So 2 in 3 come for something else. Today I'm going to share a little bit about my journey from trampled by life to redeemed by God, and about how God used the Celebrate Recovery program to help me get there. I would also like to get rid of some misconceptions about Celebrate Recovery that I myself once believed. In the not too distant past, I was a very miserable person. Years of abuse had taken their toll, and I carried around a tremendous amount of shame and guilt from past sins and experiences. I had incredibly low self-esteem, and I felt about as worthless as I imagine a person could feel. Deeper than just a longing to be invisible, I was petrified of human interaction, and I lived my life in isolation. I was also, and still am today, a very codependent person. I am an enabler, and I am a people pleaser. I have never had the ability to freely speak my mind or share my feelings and opinions with others. And at that time in my past, I did not know how to, nor did I even possess the ability to set healthy boundaries. I would say yes to everything I should have said no to, and I would say no to things I would say no to things that should have been a yes. This was a contributing factor to all the abuse that I endured. Even then, at that place and time, my husband and I would come to CrossRoads Church. It wasn't every Sunday like it is today, but sporadically. Through that, I would hear about this program called Celebrate Recovery and about some of the hurts, habits, and hangups that it helped you overcome. For years, I always thought that I needed to go to this thing called Celebrate Recovery. But then I would think about my husband and how much I felt that he needed it so much more than me, and I and I didn't want to get in the way of him and hinder him from going. This thinking was wrong on more than one account. First of all, and I say this with full confidence, we all need Celebrate Recovery. As I said before, this program addresses all issues on this side of heaven. It has been said here at CrossRoads that you can't out-bad someone else. And this may have been a bishop thing. I don't know. Someone can correct me later. But I think that was a bishop, Ron. But yeah, you can't out-bad someone else. Where am I at? No. Oh, here we go. Okay. Anyway, you can't out-bad someone else. We all sin and we all struggle. We are all imperfect people living in a broken world. We are all bound to fall short. Me comparing my shortcomings to my husband was wrong. And let me tell you something. When I started attending Celebrate Recovery, and I have seen this to be true for others as well, I found out just how much of a mess I really was. I discovered just how much I really did need to be there. Another reason my thinking was wrong was the idea that I would get in my husband's way and hinder his recovery. While men and women do meet together for either a lesson or a testimony, and we alternate each week, afterward, we split up into small groups for sharing time. Women are with women, and men are with men. So women, if you are not attending Celebrate Recovery because you don't want to feel vulnerable and exposed in front of the opposite sex, let that fear go. It is not an issue. Men, if you are not attending Celebrate Recovery because you don't want to feel vulnerable and exposed in front of the opposite sex, let that fear go. It is not an issue. Or maybe your hesitation is that you just aren't comfortable opening up, period. This is also not a problem. Though encouraged for your own personal healing, no one is required to share. Needless to say, my feelings that my recovery journey would interfere with my husband's recovery journey was simply an uninformed misconception. But now, you are all informed. You don't have that excuse. While living a life of chaos and dysfunction, without including God in much of anything, inevitably my burdens became too heavy to bear. I think my husband and I both hit our rock bottom. There's no question that I had. Rock bottom is a scary and lonely pit that no one wants to be in. Looking for a little light in that darkness, I did the absolute only thing that I could do. I surrendered everything to Christ. I laid everything at his feet, acknowledging that I could no longer carry my burdens on my own, and I prayed that he would rescue me and deliver me from the madness that had become my life. God promises us in Psalm 91, 14 through 15, I will rescue those who love me. I will protect those who trust in my name. When they call on me, I will answer. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue and honor them. I can tell you, 100% free of doubt, God always keeps his promises. He heard my cries of anguish, and he joined me in that pit I created for myself. He never let go of my hand as he guided me out using the Celebrate Recovery program. It was almost 7 years ago now that my husband and I first attended Celebrate Recovery. I think one of the most valuable lessons this program has taught me to date is that there is a difference between turning my life over to God and turning my will over to God. I have been a believer since I was 8 years old, but that had no impact whatsoever on my life other than knowing my salvation was secured. Despite being a Christian, my life still became a mess. I was still living in chaos. This is because I was trying to control my own life. I was not allowing God to guide my thoughts, actions, or motives. If it wasn't Kelly's will be done, it was Buddy's will be done. It was never God's will be done. This was the root of all the dysfunction in my life, and I had to learn that in addition to turning my life over to Christ, I have to daily, even hourly or minute by minute, surrender my will over to him. As I said earlier, I am not one to open up and share my heart with others. It is even extremely difficult to open up to my husband, who has been my lifelong companion for 22 years. For most of my adult life, I have worn a mask. I don't even know if I was trying to hide from myself or if I was hiding from others. In the years of chaos and turmoil, I wore the mask of everything is perfect. My husband and I have this perfect life and this perfect relationship. I am so happy and life couldn't be better. Well, I have the emotional scars that prove that that was just a facade. Despite my inclination to struggle alone and suffer in silence, and perhaps this was only possible by the power of God, but when I first began attending Celebrate Recovery, I took my mask off. I started sharing everything that I had bottled up inside of me over the previous 15 plus years. In doing so, I was able to let go of all the shame and guilt I had been carrying. I was able to accept God's forgiveness, and I was finally able to forgive myself for allowing my life to become what it had. I was also able to accept God's love for me, and in turn, I was able to love myself. It was only then that I was able to truly let go of all the feelings of worthlessness that I thought I would never be rid of. Again, reciting God's words in Psalm 91:15, when they call on me, I will answer. I will be with them in trouble. I will rescue and honor them. God rescued me, and he has honored me by redeeming my life. I no longer have the persistent desire to be invisible. My life of isolation became one of community. I now thrive on fellowship, and I love serving others and helping others find their own healing. Am I perfect? No. After nearly 7 years attending Celebrate Recovery, I am still far from it. Most days, I feel like a lump of clay, still waiting for the hands of God to shape me into something beautiful. I am still as much as ever a codependent, an enabler, and a people pleaser. At times, I wonder if I will ever overcome these traits, but everything's possible with God. I'm a severe procrastinator, and I have some serious priority issues. It always seems that personal, one-on-one time with God is always the first thing that I neglect when time has gotten away from me. Something I really want to work on is that at a certain point in my recovery, I think I got comfortable with who I was. I overcame just enough that I was okay with where I was at. If I were to be honest with myself and with all of you, when I became involved in leadership, I dusted that old mask off and put it right back on. This time, instead of a mask of everything is perfect, it is a mask of I have everything together all the time. Though I know better, I want to equate being a leader with never falling short. My inability to do so often leaves me feeling inadequate. The struggle that I most want to overcome is my inability to let others in. If you were to ask me on any given day how I was doing, I've been doing good. I'd be good or I'd be fine. If I am having the most wonderful day, I am fine. If I am doing good, I am fine. If I'm doing just okay, I am fine. If I feel like I'm alone in the middle of a large body of water, treading just to stay afloat, and my arms are getting tired and I'm about to go under, I am fine. I don't know why it is so hard to just say, you know what? Today I'm not okay. More than my present struggles, what keeps me going back to Celebrate Recovery is the person who comes in behind me. My number one spiritual gift is the gift of mercy. I'm a very compassionate person, and my heart breaks for anyone who is struggling. If you are out there in that body of water about to sink, I want to be there to throw you a life preserver. And if there is one thing that I can suggest to you, it is don't wait until you hit your rock bottom to seek help. I don't know why many of us do that. In his book, Less of More, Chris Nye said this: the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. God provides us with community because he knows we need it. So I encourage you to join us Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock at Celebrate Recovery, right here at CrossRoads, and let us shower you with love and understanding. We want to walk alongside of you on your journey to healing and recovery, and know that if God can change my life and the lives of all those I have had the privilege of witnessing in the last 7 years, he can change yours. He can redeem you, but you have to allow him to. Thank you for letting me share.